up, but y'all said something. Hold on. I want everybody to go around and tell me something that you've learned from parenthood. Something that you learned from being a parent. Something of value.
I don't have no kids.
I'll tell you what I'm learning.
Okay.
Patience.
That's a good one.
And up until they got on the scene, if you had asked me, "Oh, are you a patient person?" I'd be like, "Oh yeah." Why is this not done yet? But to have kids, have two of them, and watch them going through life, and then having the very fresh knowledge of, I remember when I was in kindergarten. I remember the Carrington. There was a scenario going on, and she was learning how to read and this, that, and the third. And her teacher was asking her a question, and I was like, "I know what you're going through right now. Your tongue is dry. You feel like you got a lump in the back of your throat." And I understand that anxiety. And when I was going through it at your age, I didn't know how to communicate it. And so to use that knowledge to help her get through it, I had to put that impatience on pause to go, man, if I had somebody to break it down and explain it so I could then, become a better whatever at a much earlier age, man, where would I be at today? So I'm trying to impart that on them. Now, is there some things that I'm impatient about still? Absolutely. But the slowing life down, taking the time to understand how they're feeling, what their anxieties are, what their hopes and what their dreams are today and tomorrow and in the future. That's what I would say that I'm currently learning right now.
Okay, nice.
All right.
We was on something like
Yeah.
So what I'm learning back in the day in our culture, and they tell us, do what I say and not what I do.
Mm-hmm.
And in this culture, you can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm learning to have to watch what I say,
what
I do. Kids mimic what you do.
That's it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm learning that. Learning through all three of my children. I'm learning that you can't not do stuff and you don't want them to do it. You got to learn how to be mindful. Parents didn't do everything in front of the kids. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They expect to say, "Don't do what I do." Back in the day, like I said, our culture, our parents did something, and we was around our brothers, our nephews, and we did something. So mama said, "Don't do that." But now, that's not the norm. The kids do whatever they see their parents do. Parents do, it's okay. You know what I'm saying? You drive, you teach your kids drive, and you turn, and you don't stop at the stop sign, and you roll. And now you start teaching them to drive, they gonna do the same. They say, "Well, Dad, you did that." So learning how to do teach them what you want them to do. You know what I'm saying? If you're doing right all the time and saying right all the time, being respectful, you know what I'm saying? Teaching them, they learn by you. They learn by what you do. That's what I'm learning, what you do.
Learn to be accountable. My son makes me accountable. He makes me a great father. He makes me a greater husband. Because I can't go nowhere about where that daddy at. My son is like, "Yo, man, you ain't gonna mess up." And learning how not to fail him makes me a better person. And he teaches me daily, "No, you can't. You can't not mess this up." Because Elijah lies in his parent. It's like, if dad out the bed, where's mom? Dad, go downstairs and get mom, because she ain't in bed yet. He have to make sure we're together. We was in the park talking, and the guy was trying to show me how to train. He said, "Let's go." But we ain't having this, no one's going to talk to dad. I said, "Want to the park day?" "No, dad, we're going home." He makes you accountable for everything that if you mess up, you take a part of his life. So it makes me accountable, saying, I got to get this right because I have someone that's modeling behind me. So that's why I'm learning that parents like, "Lord, I can't go nowhere without He said, "Mom, where that daddy at?" He don't say where that daddy at. Like, if I'm gonna mess up.
Where that daddy at?
So I'm learning how to say, let your word be your word. Your yes be your yes, your no. You gotta get every day you praying to be a better person. So I'm learning how to say, okay, I got a patient. Elijah learns how he want to learn.
Mm-hmm.
He don't learn how you tell him. He do it when he want to do it. So patience, and he's just 2, but he's acting like he's 25. So it's the same. Okay, God, teach me a little more patience. Teaching me how to be this role model father that he can be a great father.
Yeah.
So it is a task. Because sometimes you say, you know what, I want to hit him. No. Watch it. He's still a kid. But you want to know they teach that sometimes.
With me growing up, I always felt like my voice was stuffed down. I couldn't fully express myself. So I'm more comfortable expressing myself in writing because that way I can let my voice be heard. So as a parent, I've made it a point to let my son express himself. Like anything that he wants to say or do or try, I'm very big on trying something. I let him explore that within boundaries because he gets a little wild.
All about children. Oh, geez.
But for me, it's important for him to feel comfortable and protected and loved in his space for who he is. So,
That's good. So what did you learn?
I learned that it makes a difference to allow your child to be able to fully express themselves instead of being stuck and then being mean to people.
I'm sorry. I'm listening. I'm trying not to, because I feel like I learned all of this stuff. So I'm like, damn, I want to replica the same. I'm hoping none of y'all touch on my words. So I'm
I
like,
want to go because you got 3. Look at you.
you need to. You must need more time.
I do.
You must need more time. Take this mic.
I do.
Because I think what I've learned from my kids is acceptance. Even though I feel like I learned all of this stuff, I'm like, damn, I kind of learned that. Damn, I learned that too. But wholeheartedly, the only thing that I really did learn was acceptance. For a very long time, I always, even with their fathers, I unconditionally love you and so on. I did not really learn how to accept and really unconditionally love until I got my children, because those were different lessons. They were lessons that I really couldn't avoid and walk away from.
Gotcha.
Spiritually, I believe it's, you can't cut the family ties. I went through trauma with my oldest daughter, who I think did I invite y'all to her funeral? Definitely buried her.
You said I can sit on the front row.
Did I? Because I know I sent out these invitations. Because I'm not the one to stay. So I did actually, at a certain point in time, walk away from her. But that's because God does still always have different paths for people. So you can't intervene sometimes by trying to overly parent. So that's when I learned acceptance, because we get these children and we think ownership, not realizing that God gives us these kids as lenders. So what I want for them is not always necessarily what they're going to want for themselves.
Yeah.
And as much as I wanted to change it, curve it, control it, I had to start falling back and being like, okay, well, she's just going to do lashes. That's what she's going to do with her life. Acceptance. Because my passions is not necessarily her passions. And you can't force it, because when I did that, I learned depression, I learned regret, I learned, I don't even, still working on healing. People think healing got to do everything with relationships. Like, man, listen, you can heal from a lot of things. It's a lot of things that people need to heal from. And they allowed me to accept myself. So I just think, it's something that never came with friendships. It never came with parenting, never with family, because it's a lot easier when you're dealing with stuff external. When you're actually dealing with your kids and you are passionate about being a parent, they will teach you how to be accepting, and they will give that true meaning to unconditional love. I need to rock with my grandson, so even when I don't like my oldest daughter, I still gotta love this chick, because if not, she gonna take the baby. Crazy. You know what I mean? So it's like, you're like a prisoner a little bit. You don't even get to really be how you want to be. Honestly. But it's helped me with my relationships, even with people, because you don't necessarily always just get to be how you want to be. Right. You know what I mean? Right. People start feeling like, well, this is me. So, no.
Yeah.
You value them.
Relationship,
They don't like that.
That's it.
Tell me that.
That's it.
You know what I mean? So I've learned, but I'm cheating. My kids is all grown. I done had different levels of learning with these.
Your adult kids.
My adult kids.
You're still learning. They're still
and I'm still learning.
Yeah, there's some.
And it ain't no tap out.
No.
I was like, yay, 18. Then I was like, damn, hold on, what is this? Is freaking second level? I'm like, oh, this is the game over.
Going.
No, save the princess. What the heck?
Mario was Mario too.
No, it's your turn. They both still thinking. I was trying to talk more, but I'm done.
No. I asked the question.
What that mean?
Girl.
I've learned and still learning their love language.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is something that was hard for me because I came from a family of, on my mom's side, they're very dry. On my dad's side, they're very emotional. So there were two different spectrums. And so similar to Keisha, it's there really wasn't a voice, so to speak. Like there wasn't really like I couldn't come to my mom, or I didn't feel like I can come to her with anything in particular. And it wasn't until I was a grown up where I decided that I would go to my dad. And so when you have these children who are opinionated and think they know everything, and one day they're high and the next day they're low, it's hard, right? So I think I kind of was very much kind of like Keisha, where I was a lot harder when it came, just harder in the way that I may have been perceived.
Mm-hmm.
So like my daughter sometimes, she'll look at me like, but mom, why you always so mean? I'm not mean. She used to tell people mom doesn't like kids. I'm like, stop that. And it's not that I don't like kids. It's not that I don't like kids. I do. It's just when your kids are a little bit extra and you can't touch them, honey, you got to go. Right? But yes, I beat your daughter in one.
Wait, that's not even what I was just talking about. All I was saying was that she don't like kids. But I never say she snitched on herself. That's a guilty conscience. She beat my daughter at one.
All this, and she don't want no parts of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned with her, and I'm still learning, because sometimes she's like, oh my God, Mom, I really messed up. I got a B. I'm like, okay, well, it's okay. No, it's not okay. Okay, fine. Next time she comes home with a B, well, how'd you get that B? Mom, it's a B, come on. I'm like, really? Like, I
You just said last semester it'd be on the back. Not good.
No, it's okay. I don't get it.
So now I'm dealing with this little boy who is his own person, in his own self, and very similar to his daughter. I can't influence them to do anything they don't want to do. But it's learning how to speak his language, because he's different than her.
Mm-hmm.
And while they could have a lot of similarities, there's a lot of things that do. I mean, she was quick. She walked at 7 months. She did everything quick.
Yeah.
He takes his time, and he's going to do what he's ready. And it's not that he's not getting it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's a man, so
But he's going to do it when he wants. Like his sister.
That's that love
practice.
talk right there.
Right. His sister practiced certain things. He just gets up and does it.
Yeah.
So in his brain he must be practicing, but I don't see it.
No.
And so I'm like, what is he doing? Well, is he going to walk?
Yeah.
Well, is he going to talk?
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's he doing? So, and you hear other people, oh yeah,
This one's saying all her words. She says her ABCs. She says her 1, 2, 3s. And I'm like, well, do what you do.
Understanding and acceptance.
Understand.
Yes,
everybody.
But I am. So he's taught me a lot. And it's like, again, like you said, everybody's hit on something that that I thought I learned. Yeah. Yet now I've got this new child that I'm relearning.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I think I can take is truly learning their language so that you can truly communicate with them. And so that they can feel like they're accepted.
Thank you.
And that they can come to you.
Right.
So it's that love language. That language, like, because they're different. And they both are going to have different. And I can't do the things that I did with her. With him, I have to. I gotta finesse it differently.
Yeah.
So
that's
the thing.
That's good.
With the kids, different. I mean, once you have more than one child, it's a wreck.
See, I just have the one, but I feel like I've had a helping hand in so many lives.
I think you've raised a bunch.
Oh, yes, at school and everything else.
You just had mine.
You know, I did have yours. I did. They taught me a lot to these teenagers. They put you through some stuff. They were stressing me out on the inside.
Community.
I was like, I don't want to get called down to the office.
Community.
Okay. But no, I think I've learned overall with my son so far is how to love. How to love even more. I'm not surprisingly an affectionate person. Y'all just think I am because I smile a lot and I'm friendly, but I'm not affectionate.
We know that.
I'm not affectionate at all. I didn't grow up in a home where affection was given like that. My mother didn't say, I love you. My mother didn't say I love you, but she showed love. So for me, I show you my love. I don't say love. I love you. I'm not a hugger. I don't like being hugged. I hug in church because people hug me, but I am sometimes uncomfortable on the inside. But I refuse to let me being uncomfortable bleed over into my son. And so I give him hugs and I tell him I love you, and I give him the hugs and the kisses. But it's not an everyday normal thing for me. So I've learned how to be more affectionate. I've learned how to be more affectionate. Yes, that's what he's taught me, affection. I am not. I don't like it.
But I'm glad you said that though, because Amir is like that too. You don't know that, but he is like that. He's not that. He's not a hugger either.
He's not.
She's not a hugger.
But I hug and kiss him now.
I know because you're his mom.
Yeah.
He accepted for you. But sometimes
my mother didn't do that
I know, but I'm saying, but even sometimes for you, he'd be like, no, I don't want to be kissed.
Yeah, he does.
You know what I'm saying? He has that, like, you know.
He does.
And I don't know if he picked up from you, but he has that, like, you know. So he's very aware of, like, you know, I'm good saying hey to everybody. You know, certain people he's, you know, like you, because his mom would say hey, but he's at certain people he's like, no.
You're right. He doesn't do it to other people. But to me, but I'm talking about like, and my parents didn't, so I do it for him.
So very loving.
I do it
that you actually easily can skip past the fact that she's not exception. I'm fake bullyish, so I don't.
But I am a lot more affectionate
from her because it was not.
I am a lot more affectionate. No.
This is not about to be debatable.
Because
I'm a lot more affectionate because of him.
My mom is very similar to Vanita.
Yes.
They're
I think so.
very, and I think that's what. But I find that your mom gives a lot.
She does because her love language is to do. She does for you out of love,
and that's how my mother did.
Yeah.
My daughter taught me that.
The affection.
That affection piece, because I'm not affectionate. And I said, I come from a family that, on my mom's side, they're not affectionate. My mom wasn't a hugger. She's not a kisser. Now she tries, and it just feels weird. Right? and it's weird because it's not what I grew up with. I'm not used to her doing that. So now I kind of push her away, and I don't need to. But it's because I'm not used to it, and she gets offended now. But she wasn't like that. You know? And so with my daughter, I wanted to make sure that it was kind of a very tumultuous situation at the time that I had her. It was so I always did extra for her to feel loved. So I did that consciously. And I think for me, I think it was because of that. Because not just because I didn't even realize that it was like a thing because of my mom. I did it because I never wanted her to feel like she was lacking.
Yes.
Does affection, does it have to be the physical though? Because I felt like my dad was always the most affectionate with us. But my mom my dad. Yeah, my mommy used to be very frustrated. I get it now, though. I blamed her for a long time. I never understood the role of a woman. My dad probably was getting on her damn nerves like the whole damn time. Probably. So he had all the patience in the world to be affectionate with
but
us.
it's not that though. Like you said, like Aaliyah said, and like she said, it's all about what happened to them. You don't know. Her mom could not have given her.
My grandmother.
Your daddy could have been the best husband, the best loving, but just because her past. And she didn't know how to express herself even after 30, 40 years.
Well, you're right, because her mother wasn't affectionate.
Yeah. So
and her mother grew up, her mother didn't have a mom.
Thank God she was passionate enough to get him to have you, but.
No, seriously. She did as we got older, but she was very verbally affectionate. Yeah. So I don't think I've really missed out because she was very verbal. Yeah. You know, and she did give us hugs. It wasn't like we was like, not like Vanita and
no verbal.
No way, shape, or form. I already know that for a fact.
I mean, she did things. You knew she loved you because
I never questioned her love until I stepped away from the situation.
Over. Mine is different. I just was wondering with them because Vanita's very verbally affectionate.
No, she's
not. I love you is not, but compliments is. That's why I'm trying to get an understanding of her compliments.
Hers is acts of service.
Acts of service.
But are compliments?
No,
that's not affection.
No, she does not.
I be giving people the G pads.